everybody, I want to show you my barn find, Farmall Cub. This is how I've gotten it, just kind of give you a quick overview. Tires are not in real good shape. Whole thing's been sitting for years. Needs a lot of TLC. I'm going to start by cleaning it up, pressure washing it. Okay, I'm having some issues with the carburetor, which is right here. As you can see, there's two studs at the top of the carburetor with some nuts on them. You got your fuel line, and then your throttle rod is back here on the back. I'm going to pull that off and see if we can't rebuild it. Okay, a couple of other issues other than the run issues that we're sorting out is this steering bushing, which I've got a new one of those on order. It cost about, I don't know, $35. And then we had an issue with the seat. The bolts in the seat, there was only one holding it on. Cobbled together some bolts. I want to get some more of those square nuts and put in there, but for now, that's not in the seat, that's in the spring. So the seat is stable and it's got some cushion in it. So like I said, this is a long-term project. I'm going to be working on it for a while. Main thing I'm working on now is getting it running. Radiator may have some issues. There is some moisture in there. Like I said, I've got the carburetor off. We're going to be going through that in just a minute. I went through the spark plugs, and one of the issue it was having, you can't really see it now, but you see this dark all around this plug. This plug was loose. These two had compression. Got my spark tester on there. We do have spark. This one, the plug had been loose for I don't know how long. We've been blowing compression out. It's tight and working, but this plug was carboned and fouled, and there was no gap, and what had done, carbon had bridged the gap. So I got that. These are still the plugs I got with it. This is a different plug wire because the end had rotted off of it. I was getting no spark here. Had compression in all four cylinders after I worked on them a little bit, got the compression back, but the spark in number one cylinder was not working. Plug was fine, I cleaned it, but the spark was not. So I did a compression test on all of them. They're over 70 pounds of compression. That's not ideal, but I think as it runs, the rings will kind of seat a little better. It's been sitting for years, a number of years, probably 10 years. So got that together. I'm not sure about the hydraulics. We'll work at that when we get it running. Again, dealt with this issue with the seat. Need to get a handle for the shifter, work on the steering. So we're getting there, putting a dent in it anyway. I do want to give it even if I do a rattle can paint job on it, I want to kind of clean up everything. The exhaust has holes in it, but they had a pipe. I had to take that off, take the pipe off to get the hood off of it. So I do have the hood off of it, and I'll be draining the gas out of it. Alright, the carburetor is not in too good a shape. This jet is stripped out. I put a little glue on it. It's got some other issues, so hopefully I can get the new aftermarket one to work. But I've got that installed. I've got the fuel line run up here. I'm going to bottle feed it, and let's see if she'll crank. Alright, let's see what happens. Choke it. Alright everybody, I've got some parts in. I've got an aftermarket carburetor, the gasket, the steering bushing, the part that goes from here to the air filter assembly, radiator cap, part for the choke that goes on the carburetor right there, and then the gasket for the separator. So we'll get out and start doing some work. Okay, another one of the issues that I'm having is this is supposed to be a collar. I've got it sitting up on top of it, but this collar is wore completely open. So the steering shaft just falls out. So I'm trying to get this steering wheel off, and it's probably never been off. I've got my clamp on it, I'm working on it, and it seems to be moving. So let me see if I can get it off, and we'll put a new bushing in it. Now that I have it out, you can get a better look. The bushing is wore completely through. That's supposed to hold the shaft in place. Goes down to the steering. So I've got a bolt right here I need to take out, and then I've got a replacement one of these. Alright, I was able to get it out, as you can see. And it is wore completely through. I don't know if this is the original one, but I'll show you what a used one, a good used one, looks like. Alright, I want you to see, this is a used one I got off of eBay. A new one is about $45, I think. But you can see the difference, and this one actually has a grease fitting. And my dog is here. So there you go. We're going to get that one installed. I got to pull the Carter key, Woodruff key, and get this slid on there. Alright, using a pair of cutters, I was able to get the Woodruff key out. It goes right in there. And focus. It's not wanting to focus. There we go. Alright, so I'll pull this out of the way, and we'll get that put together. Okay, I've got the new one in there. Got to put the bolt back. I'll get the steering wheel reinstalled, put the nut on it, Woodruff key, and we'll be back in business. Once I fixed the steering wheel, there was a lot of play in the steering, and even though there's a screw in this, the nut was missing. Someone has welded a rod between the two tie rod ends, but putting that nut and tightening that down has taken a lot of the slack out. The only slack that's still in it is in the end of the tie rod ends. And also here on the, I guess, yoke, I don't know what you would call this bolt right here. There was some play in that. I tightened that down. It just snugs it up against the shaft in the middle, and that took a lot of the play out. So very little play left in it. So we're getting there. Alright, the gas tank was really bad, and as you can see, I got a bunch of rust and stuff out of it, a bunch of ethanol. And I took the gas tank and lightly pressure washed it, and the water's coming out clear, so I think we're good.